All right, we are starting a brand new week today, but I wanted to start off with the course calendar to show you that we're actually finishing the first part of our class. Um, we started with a topic proposal and how to choose a topic and choose our angle and form the hypothesis. We learned a little bit about internet research and databases. I'm trying to sort of give you some content and then give you a day to apply it. If we were in a regular class, I would spend some time lecturing, and then I would say, okay, get out your computers and go on to some databases. Instead, because we're doing this online, you're doing a lot of this stuff home by yourself. So it's the same with the field research. I gave you some pages to read last time, and then really I was hoping that you could just spend this time actually analyzing the results that you received. But I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to analyze those and how you're going to deliver that to me. So this should be just a brief wrap up of this first section. And then tomorrow we're going to start focusing on actually writing the first section of the research report. So let's finish up talking about field research. I have a document here about the different strategies that were in the book, and then how to record the data as far as what I'm asking you to turn in for this class. So I've included field research because I think that you get a lot of benefits from it. I wrote here that in college you typically conduct your research and all of your pre-writing strategies using online databases. But sometimes you need more than what the internet has to offer. And this is probably new to some of you. That's why I was giving you some time to just try it out and test it out on your own. And it's a little bit of a struggle, but I think that you learn more working through it than if I just tell you exactly how to do it. So getting information that's not on the internet. One benefit is that you are able to get more than just facts usually. You are getting access to people's experiences. And if you learned about logos, pathos, and ethos in Comp 1 or in one of your high school classes, you know how persuasive stories and experiences can be. We often focus on one individual rather than a group if we're trying to be persuasive. So large numbers can persuade people, or small numbers can persuade people, but equally persuasive is tapping into the emotion of one person's story or one person's experience. Another benefit of this kind of research, of this field research, is that you might be able to get quotes that you can use in your assignments. You guys all should know that paragraph structure requires you to have some evidence in every paragraph, and usually that's quotes from your research, but I think it's much more powerful when you gather those quotes on your own. So that's one of the benefits. I'd like for you to try to think of some additional benefits to gathering research yourself or gathering it in person rather than relying on the internet, and maybe we can discuss this in class today. But today I'm just going to talk about the 3 strategies that our book covered and then how I would expect you to record them. So maybe we can go through this first one and then take a little pause and process it and then come back and talk about the other ones. I think one of the biggest types of field research that you could do is an interview strategy. You will definitely conduct other interviews in your life. You will have to go on interviews and be interviewed by people. Any field you go into, you're going to have to talk to other people in your own business or in another business and get information from them. So the textbook pages that I provided for you sort of broke it down into before, during, and after the interview. So whether it's for this assignment or for another assignment, the steps are pretty much the same. Before the interview, there's a lot of prep that you have to do. And the first thing is just to use the internet to research the person you're going to be interviewing. Everyone has an online footprint these days, so you should check everything you possibly can. Check their social media and see what kinds of things are on there. Check, Google them, see what results come up when you Google them. Even if there's somebody that you know well, looking at their social media the way an outsider might see it, and Googling them the way a stranger might have to do, can let you see the same person from a different perspective. If they have a business website, if they have a personal website, check the website and go through all of the tabs and see how they're presenting themselves and what kind of information they're giving out. After you do that little bit of background research, you hopefully started to formulate your questions. You need two different kinds of questions here. It's a good idea to start off with fact-based questions just to warm them up and get them comfortable speaking to you. These would be short answer things like, how long have you been in this field? Tell me how you got started. You know, where are you from? Where did you go to school? Things that have fact-based answers and one correct answer. Then you want to move on to the open-ended questions. And we talked about this in class, but you're trying to get people to describe an experience. Of course, you want your data and your facts, but there's something specific that this person uniquely has to offer. So if you're doing a personal interview with one single individual, you're trying to get them to talk about their experience as much as possible. So these should not be yes or no answers. These are going to be tell me about kind of questions. Tell me about the hardest thing you had to do. Tell me about the best moment in your career. Tell me about how you got started or why you got started. So you do your background and then you prepare your questions. There are a few logistics you have to take care of. Are you going to take notes by hand, or are you going to record it? You should definitely know that ahead of time. You should choose a location that's comfortable for everybody. If you were interviewing somebody about their field or their work, obviously you would want to do that at the location if possible, even if they are part of your family or a family friend, because you can get a lot of observational data by being in the environment, things that they might not necessarily know to tell you, but that you can pick up on if you're in the location. So you need to decide those details ahead of time. During the interview, it's important to explain why you're there. I'm here to interview you, and give them an idea of how much time it will take so that they don't feel rushed or worried that you're infringing on their next meeting or their next time. You want to ask permission at the beginning, especially if you're going to record them. So let everybody know what's going on right up front. Then you can go ahead and jump into your questions, use the fact-based questions to get them comfortable. And then during the open-ended ones, you're really asking for opinions, feelings. You're trying to see things from their point of view. That's the reason you're interviewing them, because they have these unique insights. At the end of every interview, it's very important to ask if there's anything they want to add. You may have missed something, or you might not even be aware of something, but these people are the experts, and that's why you're interviewing them. So ask them if there's anything you didn't ask, but that they would like to tell you, anything further they would like to share, anything they want to follow up on, because oftentimes this is where we get the best information, when we just let them talk. All right, once the interview is over, you're going to immediately want to review your notes and fill in any gaps. Make sure you've written everything down. Make sure there isn't something you started and didn't have enough time to finish. Make sure you didn't forget to write something because you were so busy listening. All of these things are fresh in your mind, but of course the minute it's over is when you immediately start forgetting things. So fill in any gaps while you still have that information fresh. When you're going through and deciding which quotes you might want to use, it's a good idea to verify with them, send it to them and say, this is the quote I'd like to use. Does this accurately reflect what you said? Did I get it right? If they provided you with any new facts, you always want to verify those. So go back to the beginning and go back to your research and make sure that those facts are accurate. Okay, so this should not be mind-blowing information, but I do want to talk about how to record interview data. Ideally, you'll keep some sort of chart, like a 2-column chart was mentioned in the observational data that we read in the student essay. You will want to keep some kind of chart that shows all of their answers. But the thing that I want to stress at this point in your education is that it's time to start analyzing that information as well. So you will probably need 3 columns. I recommend something like this. It can be adapted based on your needs, but always keep your hypothesis in mind and focus on topics that are going to yield results that prove or disprove it. So when you're filling in the analysis section, go back to your hypothesis and see how this question relates to your hypothesis. Does it prove it or disprove it? Does it bring up something that you, another question that you might want to ask? Is there anything you can observe about this that was not verbal and you would like to also note somewhere? You can put that in your analysis. So for example, if I ask the question, what experience do you have? They give me this list of all of their experience. I might analyze how they seemed, how they, what emotions they seemed to be going through when they were talking about it. I might draw some conclusions based on that. Anything that has to do with breaking it down, making conclusions, relating it back to your hypothesis, following up, those are going to be things that are appropriate for the analysis section. Okay, so take a few minutes and think about this analysis section, make sure that you understand it. If you need to go back in this video and go through the steps again, that's fine. I'm going to give you a break and then come back and we're going to talk about observation and surveys. Okay, I'll see you in a minute.